We just can't seem to catch a break. We've got lots of Premier League football happening quick and fast in the coming days. We had games in midweek and now we have games at the weekend as well. Round 15 is already around the corner. And as usual, we'll be giving our predictions ahead of the coming round. Without wasting much time, Victor, I would just like to say before we start, I looked at the fixture list and this is one of those weekends where there are no easy games to predict, sort of. It's a bit tricky, but yeah. What are your best straight win selections?
I'm going with Man United over Wolves at 181. And of course, this isn't due to just how amazing United are. They still need to play West Ham as we're recording this, but Wolves, they're so bad. I think if United don't beat Wolves, Max won't hear the end of it from me, a bit like with Grimsby. The other one is Newcastle versus Burnley, and I'm backing Newcastle to win on a minus 1.5 Asian handicap at 190. Newcastle should be winning this one comfortably. They're at home, and Burnley are nowhere near good enough. I'm going with the handicap because there's not much value in picking them for the outright. And my third pick is draw or Chelsea to win against Bournemouth at 140. I backed Chelsea against Leeds. In fact, I think we both did, if I recall correctly. And man, was that a shock to the system. I think they're going to come out all guns blazing in this one and get at least a draw, even though they're away. I'm not feeling adventurous enough to back them outright, but that one also seems like a decent punt at around 230.
Fair point. And for me, I actually have two of the same selections you made. Just like I pointed out, this weekend is not so, it's not so clear cut like that. I've also got Newcastle to beat Burnley on the -1 handicap. I think they are going to blow Burnley away, probably by like 2 goals or something. And I've also got United to beat Wolves. I mean, I'm hoping the bookmakers do not know something we don't. 1.80 against the worst team in the division seems a little fishy, but yeah,
Yeah, but it's United.
it's United. Yeah, it's too much of good value to ignore. So I'll back United for that one. And my third one is actually Brighton against West Ham. Yes, I know West Ham are not the same West Ham we know, but I mean Brighton have been a different side in the past couple weeks, and otherwise the loss to Villa, they've almost been proper solid, and I think they will be looking to bounce back against West Ham. So I think
Yeah.
Brighton to beat West Ham at 1.62 is also a decent value as well. Anyways, moving on, Victor, what are your best goal selections?
I've got Spurs versus Brentford, 2.5 plus goals at 188. This one strikes me as very good value. All of
Mm.
Spurs' last 5 games ended with at least 3 goals. Actually, only one with 3. Every other one ended with 4 or more. Brentford, they're handy as well when it comes to 2.5 plus. It landed in 3 of their last 5. I'm also going with 2.5 plus in Bournemouth versus Chelsea at 171. Both sides are top heavy. They look to set the pace, so it's reasonable to expect some fireworks here. Maybe not Fulham versus City or Brighton versus Villa fireworks, but still. And my third selection for the goals market, I'm going with no BTTS for Everton versus Forest. It's at 189, 190. It's Moyes versus Dyche is proper old-fashioned British football. Trenches will be dug, buses will be parked, and we will see at least one team keep a clean sheet in this one.
Yeah, fair. That's pretty interesting. For me, I'm actually going with Leeds Liverpool. I think that game is going to bring a lot of goals because I think Liverpool might probably win, but Leeds will take that game to Liverpool. You know, Daniel Farker's mentality is not going to sit back; it's going to take the game at them. So Leeds could probably get on the score sheet as well. So 1.73 for over 2.5 goals makes sense. Aston Villa v Arsenal is actually too good to ignore. Over 2.5 goals, 2.11. I know it's a bit overpriced because of Arsenal's defense, and maybe the bookmakers are thinking there's a slight odd chance Arsenal can keep a clean sheet, but without Gabriel and potentially Saliba, not even featuring. Mosquera also got injured
Oscar out. Yeah.
midweek as well. So I see a very, very much patched up back pairing for Arsenal. And I think Villa should be able to get a goal, even if Arsenal manage to win. So over 2.5 goals in that game. And I'm also going for the odd reason, I'm also going for City v Sunderland. I think there will be lots of goals in that game for whatever reason, but I just feel like we won't see a score line, definitely, but we'll see decent amount of goals in that one. And moving on, Victor, best player to score picks. This one was hard for me to pick this week.
Not for me, to be honest. I got three. I went with the three that I was most confident with. I could have probably patched together five, but I went with three. I've got Haaland at 152 against Sunderland, and I think this one's
Yeah,
self-explanatory. I've got Gyökeres at 325. It's absolutely long for sure, but he'll definitely be starting. Marino
yeah,
played the whole game against Brentford. Arsenal are going to look to get Gyökeres into proper duels with the Villa centre backs, and
yeah,
they need to try to get him firing consistently. So I think he's going to get more chances than usual in this one, thanks to the creativity of Saka, Eze, and Rice. At least two of those are starting anyway.
yeah.
And for my third pick, I'm going with Voltemade against Burnley. I mean, 190. I feel like it's a bit long. Yes, okay, he blanked against City and he only had a cameo against Marseille. But after that, he scored versus Everton and got an assist against Spurs. I think he'll be licking his lips at the prospect of facing Burnley. This is the second worst defense in the division.
Yeah, fair point. And I also have just three selections as well, quite similar to yours. I've got Haaland for obvious reasons. He has now scored 100, Premier League goals in 110 games. A very, very silly record if you want to say, but yeah, we don't need to explain Haaland. I've also got Wolfmart, and against Burnley, the second worst defensive side, like you mentioned, I think is good. It's good value to get on the score sheet. And then I've got an Arsenal player. Surprise! It's not Gyökeres, it's Saka, because I think that game is going to be physical, and Arsenal might probably get a pen. Arsenal might get a penalty in that game, and I think Saka might probably find the net from the spot. So
What
yeah,
if he lets Gyökeres take it?
then yeah, then your selection comes true. But yeah, I think Arsenal might get the penalty in that game.
Yeah.
And on the final note, Victor, any bold opportunity to take advantage of?
I found one, and everybody take this with however much salt you want, but I'm going with Newcastle versus Burnley at over 3.5 goals. The
Mm,
odds are 250. It's not super high, but it is high for over 3.5. Burnley's away games are absolute goal fests. Four of the last five ended with four or more goals scored.
interesting. I've got just one, and it's not really so bold, or maybe it's bold, but I've got two actually. One of them is absolutely bold, and one is on the fence. Leeds will not lose to Liverpool. Leeds will not lose to Liverpool. They're a different beast at Elland Road, and I don't know. Liverpool would need to play better than how they've been playing to win against Leeds, at least in my
Here I
opinion.
am being nice, backing Gyökeres, and what do you do, mate?
Right, no, I'm just being honest here, to be fair. And this one, I think Max might not like this, but hear me out. Wolves, Wolves have equaled the worst start to the Premier League season, 2 points after 14 games. But if there is any chance they can get to 3 points or maybe 5 points, I think it can happen at the weekend against United. This one is just a pure hunch. There's no statistical backing for it. It's just a hunch. And I've never
If
felt this
I'm
way about the Wolves game.
if I'm being honest, you know what this sounds like? You're trying to make good for the fact that we both backed Chelsea and they lost the Leeds when they were priced also at 180.
Exactly. You have to follow the pattern sometimes. And My spidey sense tells me Wolves might get the point. But anyways, this is something that people should not take seriously at all. I mean, Wolves are still the worst team in the Premier League at the moment. That is a fact. And just take this with the tiniest pinch of salt. Anyways, on that note, that's all we have in our predictions for round 15. It promises to be exciting. And I'm calling it again that we will see some very surprising and shock results. And as usual, after the game week, we'll be here to give out the best talking points from all the action.